Greetings, everyone. Destinations along life's journey. Some are planned, others stumbled upon. Some are very pleasant, while others are tests to the best in us. Joining me today is an East St. Louis, Illinois native whose life journey carried him to a temporary destination unlike any in his 61 years. He has since returned, and we are certain you will find the story of Mr. Kevin Anderson's journey informational, educational, and inspirational. Kevin, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing fine. Just trying to get my weight back and get my strength back and spend some time with my family and friends from East St. Louis, Illinois, and the surrounding counties.
Well, that's great. That's great. Tell us about this journey you had just a short while ago.
Well, this journey was a long ride. It was a long ride. But, one thing about everything, God is good. God makes sure that you get back home safe. You do what you're supposed to do. On May 27th, I was leaving work, and I had a fever like 104. So I went to the urgent care center in Collegeville, Illinois. When I went there, they told me to go right to emergency room at Memorial. And they said, we need to take you by ambulance. But me being hard-headed, I drove. But I barely made it. Well, when I made it there, so when I got there, they came out in the emergency room and they started cutting my clothes off for me because they found out that I had COVID-19. They already called them and told them to get ready for me. So when I got there, cut my clothes out, rushed me in there. I had a fever of 104. They started trying to get my fever down. They couldn't get it down fast enough and everything. But so then they started giving me some more fluids and everything. I was dehydrated. After that, next day, my respiratory system broke down on me, and they said we had to put you on a ventilator. And they called my wife and told her, what they had to do and everything. And with COVID-19, they can't come see you or come visit you, so everything is done by phone. So they put me on a ventilator for 15 days, and at that time they was putting a lot of people up and down, and that was just it was new to everybody. So I got on the ventilator. And thank God I got off in like 15 days. But when I got off, I was struggling, and everything. I was breathing hard. And they told me, hey, look, if you don't get your breathing right, you're going to pass. And that, you're not pass, die, because your respiratory system is your main function. If you can't breathe, you can't live. So after that, I fought through it. I stayed woke 2 days trying to, not die and everything. Then I turned around. They had me on all these tubes and whatnot and everything. They put me in a seduced coma because I kept snatching all the tubes out of my nose and throat. So they put me in there for 15 days. So it's 15, and then I turned around after they did all that. They my doctor, Dr. Appadue, who is an excellent practitioner from East St. Louis again, always hometown, always saving you at the end and everything. He's a doctor down in Windsor, one of the best doctors around. And he found I had blood clots in my left leg. My left leg almost purple and blue. So they started giving me Cialis, to thinner the blood. So they were going to race to my heart. I had three of the main things you could have: a ventilator, blood clots, and ventilator, blood clots, and feeding tubes, fevers. I had a lot of things. And the reason why I had that, I had diabetes, bronchitis, and sugar, and all these, and COVID latches on to all these extremities. When you start having high blood pressure, bronchitis, diabetes, and everything. I had three of the main things, and it jumped on me. It jumped on all my extremities and put me down. But God was good. God was good to make sure I fought through that. But I lost 72 pounds, so they told me if I didn't weigh that weight, I could have died, because if you lose 72 pounds, you'll be at 200. If I was at 200 and weighed and lost 70 pounds, I've been at 130. You've been too weak to fight off all those things that was coming after me and whatnot and everything. And I had to learn how to walk again, learn how to swallow. They didn't want me to eat because you could aspirate and swallow your food and die and choke. I didn't eat for like 31 days. 31 days without eating, 30-some days without walking, and everything. And then I fought through all that. you know, and then I'm thinking I'm well. You know, I fought through, got myself back to shape, you know, that I could come out. But I stood up and I fell down because my legs, I hadn't walked in 31 days. I thought I could walk again. They had to teach me how to walk again, you know, how to take little baby steps and get my strength back in my legs and everything. Then they put me on a puree diet, meaning that, you know, the things that I was eating was like, I tell a lot of guys like mud, but you know, it's funny, but you got to keep it real. But these are some of the things that people don't know. You got to wash your hands. You got to keep your distance and everything, and you got to wear these masks. Just like we're here now, it don't take anything just to wear a mask. And we are people, blacks are real having a bigger struggle because of the simple reason it's an economic thing too. We don't have bus fare to get to these facilities. We don't have money to get to these facilities. We don't have insurance, and we're scared because we think it costs something. It doesn't cost anything to get tested, and a lot of people don't know it's an economic thing. You know, and the reason they say why blacks are so much dying from this is because of three components. We don't have the resources to get to these sites. We don't have the money and whatnot and everything. And we don't have the transportation. You know, you got to have transportation to get to these sites. If they way out in Collinsville and Belleville, and we from East St. Louis, and we don't have number one car, and the one car is not strong enough to make it, and then we wait too late. You know, I'm telling a lot of people, stop waiting too late to go to the doctor. If you got a fever, you're not feeling good, at this stage right now, they're not charging you. Please go. Because if you go, you can find out. If you find out, you can get treated. But if you wait 7 to 6 days to get treated, you know, I was just blessed to go to the doctor and get treated real quick. But when you get treated real quick, they can catch it. Mm-hmm. It's just like having a cancer, a colon cancer, anything like that. And I think if you catch it early enough, they can jump on top of it. But when it starts spreading through your body and everything, and you start seeing people die. When I was in there, I watched a lot of people pass. Mm. You know, from all walks of life. I don't want to talk about it, but one thing about it though, people don't know that this is a serious thing. And now we're going into flu season. November, we're going to have COVID, pneumonia, and flu. We got the three toughest diseases out there coming up this winter. And the reason is because this thing is a hot virus, meaning that it doesn't survive in the hot that well. You know, it's still going to get you, but in the heat, you know, it's a little better situation. Mm-hmm. And everything, because, you know, we're passing, we're outside and everything. But this winter, it's peaking now. Everybody know we're going up, we're not going down. We're having more deaths. We're at 8% in the state of Illinois, and it's steady rising. It's not going to get any better because what? The weather's not getting any better. And we're inside more, not like outside in the summertime. Mm-hmm. And we have to learn how to be our brother's keeper, meaning that we have to have a national mandate. We can't clean up Illinois and then Missouri is not cleaned up. You see what I'm saying? So we got to have a national mandate on masks, washing hands, social distancing, and working with these kids. And 10 and under, yeah, people say they're not getting it, but the thing about it though, what if they start getting it? If the kids don't see you do it, how they gonna do it? I tell a lot of people that we have to do our due diligence in working and doing what they say do, the CDC, and what we might not like it, but we got to do it because we have over 260,000 people die and growing. We lose 1,000 people a day, and it's simply because, you know, like I said, we don't have a national mandate. And if you don't have a national mandate and people are not taking it seriously and whatnot and everything, I don't want to get into the politics side of it, but it is. We have to learn how to do the right things, because if we don't, I was just blessed. People don't know it. People from East St. Louis, they call my daughter, they call my wife, they call my son. You know, my church, you know, Mount Sinai, you know, they praying for me. I had prayers going up everywhere. Tennessee State, Mount Sinai, the Juvenile Center, all the places in East St. Louis, you know, my tailgate boys and everything. Mm-hmm. But
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to ask you, because your roots are so deep in East St. Louis, how had you been received? But you've already started answering that you've received the warmest, most loving reception from those, in your East St. Louis community, and that's always great to hear. So go ahead, continue, please.
Yeah, and that's good when you come home and cases of soda and water and chips and potato chips and food out to the front door. I told my wife, we must be a grocery store. You know what I'm saying? But people was doing their part to make sure I came back home from East St. Louis, and it was just wow. It was a trying thing, but when you can live, it's nothing better than living, but it's nothing better than having your family and friends there for you.
Absolutely.
You know, and it gets to me. You know, when I was in the hospital, my grandson, they told my grandson don't come around because I had COVID, so they think he had COVID, and he ran home and told everybody. He said my grandfather gonna die. My son told me, he said, you got a lot of dying because that man's a fighter.
Yes, he is.
That man's a fighter. And, you know, people don't know. See, some people just go home and get quarantined. Me, I was quarantined for 39 days, 40-some days. And people don't realize that we have to take this serious. Because if we don't take this serious, it's going to be worse during the Christmas. And these kids going to fall prey to this, you know. We don't want the kids taking it back to the older parents. I've had people that have went home to their daughter, and I have one of my members, she went home to help her daughter. She caught it. She's 80, her daughter's 40. She died, and her daughter lived. So this is the things that people don't know. It's touching home and whatnot and everything. And I just want everybody to know that we have to just start just taking it seriously.
Very well said, Kevin. I'd like to ask you as well, did your physicians give you any protocol in terms of what you should do in the aftermath of what you went through with COVID-19 in terms of your diet, exercise? Of course, know about the COVID-19 protocol in terms of the social distancing, the mask. But did they suggest anything to you or your family members that you're around frequently for to help them be safer?
Well, what we do, you know, like when we go places, we still want to be acknowledged people and everything. But we got a thing in our house, you know, we got to keep it moving. You know, you got to stay active, and then but you can't be up in somebody's face more than 10 or 15 minutes, because we don't know who has it. And we try, you know, but you want to be cordial, you know, because when I got out, people thought I had to play it, you know. So and a lot of people don't know, you know, they're like, oh, you know, you still got it. But, you know, I understand. But at the same time, you got to keep your immune system good. Let me tell you about something. The number one thing is this right here. If your immune system gets bad, you get bad, you know. COVID is a flu-like symptom. It's a cold. It's a virus, and it latches on to extremities that people don't never think, you know, it's gonna latch on. And we try, as a family, to keep our hands clean. You know, we go to gas pumps. You know, we don't touch the gas pumps anymore. We wear gloves and use a towel. We don't drink at water fountains right now and everything. People don't know these kids at school right now. That's why it's kind of scary right now when kids are at school. Kids put their hand up under the water hydrant, as you know, 7, 8-year-old, and they drink from it. Guess what happens when the other kids come behind? They drink from it. Guess how that virus spreads? Hand to hand to hand to hand. Mm. And we just got to do certain things that we can't, you know, we used to can't do. But that gas pump, people don't know it. Like 75% of people touching that gas pump, not washing their hands afterwards, is spreading. It stays on there anywhere from 2 to 6 hours. So these are things you got to look at, you know. Water fountains, we can't drink behind water fountains right now. We can't drink behind people no more. We can't smoke cigarettes behind nobody. Come on, you know. I told the people last week, you know, we got to get down in the trenches in the hood. Come on, it is what it is. You know, we have to educate our people, because if we don't, you know, everybody want to just, you know, take posters and pictures. We got to get down in the hood and educate these people on how to, you know, do certain things to stop this from spreading. Come on, you know, everybody say, well, I don't want to talk about that and this. I said, we got to talk about it, because it's a reality thing now. It's a reality check. It's a gut check.
And one of the interesting things about it that you're alluding to, Kevin, is that even without it, what it does stress is things that we should be doing for ourselves anyway.
True.
So like you said, you're going to have some people who may not be willing to follow the protocol, but if you can reach them and say, well, ma'am, sir, brother, sister, why not do them anyway?
To help each other.
If it's going to help you in this matter, and it will help you in other aspects of life anyway, because we all know we need to cut back on certain things.
Right, that's true.
And for some people this is in a very unusual sense. It's been a blessing in disguise. Some people never exercise so much in their life. Some people never cut back on some things so much in their life. Some people needed some more time alone. They're partying.
Mhm.
They cut back on.
Mhm.
So some people's hands are being forced, so to speak. But when they
Good.
sit back in retrospect and look at themselves and say, wait a minute. I haven't been out drinking, out smoking,
Mhm.
out partying. I've been walking more.
Right.
Adding a few more vegetables to my diet, been getting a little bit more sunlight.
Right.
You know what? Certainly we wouldn't want it to happen under these conditions,
That's
but
true.
might as well make the most for myself of the situation that I'm
That's
in.
true.
So that's a great point you're making about you getting out letting people know, hey, you can afford to do a little bit more walking anyway.
Right.
You can afford to get a little bit more sunlight on your
Anyway.
face and in your skin. You can
Anyway.
afford a little less leisure time, social time out at these crowded nighttime
Venues
venues
and
and so
whatnot.
forth. So take advantage of what you need to do for yourself despite the condition that brought it along.
Right. And one thing people don't know, this pandemic brought everybody together. Some people weren't having dinners together. But when they closed all the restaurants, guess what happened? We started having the old Sunday dinners together now. The old family gathering, the 4 or 5 people at the kitchen table passing the food around. Because when the restaurants closed, we had to learn how to what? Cook and do it at home. So it's a blessing in disguise, some of this. Like you say, some of these things we need to do anyway.
Right.
And the pandemic made us like that because simple fact, when the restaurants closed and you can't go in and sit down, you got to eat at home Sunday dinners. We finally now, like you said, we start eating Sunday dinners together. As a family, and we weren't getting this because the way our lifestyle was set before the pandemic, everybody doing it. Not everybody sitting down at the kitchen table, passing the potatoes and chicken and greens and cornbread around, and that's a good sign because that brings unity and camaraderie in the family homes again instead of just we gonna go to McDonald's again, this and that. I love that aspect of it. I hate to, it was forced on us,
Right.
but I love the unity we got right now.
That's a great point. That's a great point. I have observed in our beloved East St. Louis, people getting together, unifying more under very cautious conditions, as you indicated. But that has been a silver lining in this COVID-19 cloud, if you will, to see people, community people, their heightened, their alert being heightened. And I look at it in some part as when you're in your home and it's dark, your lights aren't on. Now, if you're bumping into things, that should give you an indicator, okay, I don't know my surroundings as well as I should know.
Right.
Because when the lights are out in my home and it's completely dark, I should still be able to maneuver.
That's true.
And every now and then, you're reminded that, oh, boom, you bump into something, hit your elbow, you stub your toe, your knee. It reminds you that I'm not quite as aware of my own environment as I should be. I look at COVID-19 like that a little bit. Excuse the poetry in it. But I look at it like that. It's like things are happening with me. There are certain conditions I have that I'm not as aware of as I should be.
That's true.
So I need to check my vitals, my blood pressure, my sugar levels, my diabetes counts. I need to check my levels. I'm in my home. It's dark and I'm bumping into things. Well, wait a minute, Osiris. This is your home.
Right.
You should be able to navigate
Through that.
without any light.
That's true.
But the fact that you're having problems stumbling through your own home means you need to become more conscious of your environment. Just like with COVID-19, I need to check my blood pressure.
Right.
I need to check my sugar level.
That's
I need
true.
to check all these various levels. I need to go out and see how it feels to walk a mile. If I'm huffing and puffing, okay.
Right.
Well, let's keep going a little further. After a week, I'm huffing and puffing after 2 miles, a 2-mile walk.
Right.
And after another week or two, I walk 5 miles without huffing and puffing. Or Staircase.
Right.
Staircase is an excellent example. A lot of people tell you after about 3 steps, I'm huffing and puffing.
Mm-hmm.
And then a little later they'll tell you, I made up the entire staircase. So it's progress. These are things we need to keep in mind. I'm going to turn it back over to you, but you just brought all those things out of the darkness, if you will, pun intended.
And like our church, we're having church services at Mount Sinai outside. And which, a lot of churches not having church, but we have learned that we got to do certain things in order to get something you never had. You got to do something you never did before. You got to do certain things, and we're having church outside, and we're not even looking back. We're having church, and we're praising God out there at Mount Sinai every Sunday. Rain, sleet, snow, we outside, because we have to keep our distance, but we also got to keep our congregation safe. And and we just thank God that we could just have service, outside right now. It's not like the city of East St. Louis. We're a city of champions. We always find a way. We'll find a way.
It's a great segue, and you champion right on through this. You handled it like a champion. So on that note, that's a great segue. Let me ask you, what was your thought process during the whole ordeal? What were the main things on your mind that you were trying to do to lift your mind? Because that had to be such a terrible ordeal. And what were the things trying to drag you down that you had to try to shrug off? Just like that last 100 meters of the 400-meter dash.
That's right.
When that monkey's trying to, but you pumping. What kept you pumping down the straightaway?
My number one thing, you got to latch on something that can make you come back. I got an 8-year-old grandson.
Oh.
And, I've been raising him since day one. And I had to get back to him. To help him survive in this world. He told me, he said, my papa, God knew my papa wanted me to get back home. And that was one thing that made me come back. It was him. And, you got to find something to latch on and make you go through the IVs, the ventilators, the tubes in your arm, in your nose. It'll tear you up. But when you meet God on the other side, I met him a little bit. I met him. I touched him a little bit over there. But when you can touch God and He can tell you in so many ways, you got to change your life and get your life back in order again. We'll give you a second chance. But you got to do the right thing. If you get that second chance, and my second chance was coming back home to Him.
Kevin,
and my family.
Yes, sir, absolutely. You epitomize the soul of East St. Louis so much. And what you said there so profound, I've got a few goosebumps on my arms here. You were thinking about your legacy. And that's what we always do in East St. Louis.
That's right.
We do the best we can in our endeavors, whether it's track and field, football, basketball, academics, what have you. Because we want to carve that path for those who come behind us.
The next generation.
So you're such an epitome of the soul, if you will, of East St. Louis. The strength you derived was from your grandson. Knowing that you wanted to continue, you needed to continue to be there for him. So it's just a beautiful expression. It's just a beautiful epitomization, if you will, of the heart, the mind, the soul of an East St. Louisan. So I'm really elated to hear you express that. That's what gave you the strength to. Well, let me finish strong. Let me keep going. Let me persevere. My grandson, my family, the legacy I've left. They still need me. I still need them. And it's just beautiful to hear that was one of the keys to you persevering.
And I thank God for seeing me through that too.
Indeed.
And my church, family, and friends, and all my East St. Louisans, and Belleville, and Fairview Heights, but everybody, all walks of life. But I put a thing on my grandson. And I got a granddaughter too, and everything. But that boy, you see, we're losing so many young black boys right now because we're not putting the time in with them. The Mike Browns, the all these guys have been killed by the police and whatnot and everything. We gotta educate our young black men to our young boys to become young black men to go on to the next level. And the only way we're gonna do that, we gotta be around to do it.
It's true.
We just can't let the streets raise them.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yep.
Very, very well said. Brilliantly said, Kevin. It's critically important. And I love the brilliant way you are approaching this particular matter and proving how it branches off into other aspects of life. And most things are symbiotic like that, which means they have meanings for various other things.
Right.
So, the COVID-19, it's a wake-up call.
Yes, it is.
It reminds us that what we need to be doing for ourselves, the motivation to get over it, to overcome it, brings back to us what's most essential to us, which is our family and friends, helps us draw strength and unity with those in our communities, our churches, and so forth. So you're just painting this beautiful picture of how you overcome COVID-19. You battle, you fight COVID-19.
And you survive.
And you survive it with all the various other critical, important aspects of your life. I love the way you're painting that full picture of how we pull those spikes out of the
Right,
cell. You know, when you see that COVID cell with the spikes in it,
yes, sir.
you know, we're pulling those spikes out.
Trying to fight it.
To fight it. And we're drawing upon the strength. We're evoking the strength, the love, compassion of our family, friends, and loved ones. So I'm gonna let you close with any remarks you have remaining, but we do appreciate you sharing some of your time with us to get your very important, very special message to the people.
My message right now to everybody, is just take one day at a time. Let's get tested. If you feel you have that certain feeling, go get tested, and then too, at the same time, spread the word that, hey, God is good.
Absolutely, Kevin. Listen, we want to thank you. We're gonna give you a fist bump because we want to be COVID compliant here. This is Brother Osiris Tucker. We want to thank Mr. Kevin Anderson, our dear friend, our fellow East St. Louisan, for sharing his brilliant, inspirational story with us. Thank you. Love and harmony, Brother Osiris.